It's time for GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live. Today, in this week's episode, we're taking a deep dive into the new Modular Synth Drums pack in GarageBand iOS. We're also talking about the new update to iMovie. Yeah, the free iOS video editor just got even better. And we got a bunch of news and notes, including some MIDI issues that may want you to rethink updating to iOS 15.4. All that and a bucket of fish coming up here on GarageBand Weekly.
GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly.
Oh, indeed. Thank you, Kronk Song. Welcome to GarageBand Weekly for another week, our weekly show where we talk nothing but GarageBand and GarageBand adjacent topics. If you are a GarageBand user, or as we like to say, GarageBand curious, perhaps, then welcome aboard. Tune in for the next hour. We're going to talk all things GarageBand. If you're here live and you've got some questions for me or some comments or anything you want to add along the way, all you need to do is that. Put question in front of your comment. And we are brought to you today by me. By my GarageBand Users Guide. You can head on over to studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand and check out the GarageBand Users Guide over there. So I'm just shimmering some windows around because I realized I've reset up so that, because I used to have, a bit inside baseball here, but I used to have this screen over here, which was my sharing screen, and then I realized I was always looking over there. So I've made this my sharing screen, but I also forgot to switch my StreamYard over to that screen. So we just had to do a few little quick running adjustments, but that's okay because I wanted to share my screen here and show you what you can do if you want to jump over to Studio Live today. Oh, you know what? I'm at the wrong thing anyway. This is all going exceptionally well. There we go. That didn't take long. Luckily, I'm better at GarageBand than I am at live streaming. So if you want to go and check out the guide, all you need to do is go to studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand. There is my FAQ where you can check out my $10 course, which is 5 hours of curated GarageBand content. We've then got a whole bunch of playlists here full of free videos and all of my FAQs here in alphabetical order for your convenience. How is everyone? Have you had a good weekend? Had a good Easter for those that celebrate? I hope so. Let's dive in, shall we, to the news and the notes of the week here as they relate to GarageBand. So, number one. I've had some reports of some MIDI issues. So whenever we have reports, I say this to you all the time. Whenever there's an iOS or an iPadOS update, don't do it until you have to, until you absolutely must update. If you're in the middle of a project or if you're in the middle of something important, or had some people that were like doing live performances and things with their rig, don't update. Don't update until you've had, a month or two for folks to iron out the bugs. You don't need to be the guinea pig. Let folks like me be the guinea pigs. So we've got a problem, and that is with MIDI devices. So I'm going to do a live test here just to show what's going on here. So if we bring up my iPad, there it is. So here is my MIDI keyboard. Now I'm plugged in via USB here, USB straight into a powered USB hub and into the Lightning to USB adapter. I'm into the USB-C adapter here. So this should be the same if you're using a Lightning-based iPad as well. And what we're going to do is I've just plugged this in. Now, MIDI here in iOS is plug and play. So if I hit the keyboard button here, I should be able to play some notes here. And they should come straight through, which they do, thankfully. So the same as hitting there, I can play it on my MIDI keyboard. So GarageBand is still working. Couple of things that folks wanted me to test. The word on the street is that even though it works here in GarageBand, if you load up a standalone app, it won't work. So let's try that now. We're going to close out of GarageBand here, like so, and I'm going to load up Ravenscroft because this is a very simple app. I know this works. I know this worked before I updated to iOS 15.4. So if we tap on the screen here, working perfectly. Drum roll, please. Yeah, we got nothing. So there's no connection between MIDI and the third-party device. Now, I've jumped into the settings here and I've played around with it when I was doing my pre-testing in the options and also in the MIDI audio options here. And there's nothing here to change. There's no way to adjust it here. It's just iOS audio. It's all set up exactly as it should. I've even changed the output to my MIDI keyboard. Not that that really matters. And it doesn't seem to be working. Now, let's try one more thing here. What if we use this as an AUV3 here? here in GarageBand. Let's try this. This is all very experimental because I only got this report yesterday, and I thought I'll try it here on the show. I'll put it out there into the world, and then if anyone else is having the same issue, you can share that, and we can see if there's any workarounds, because I don't think there are. I think we're just waiting on a fix from Apple. But I would say, as always, if you're in the middle of a big project, don't update yet if you don't have to. All right, let's load up Ravenscroft here in GarageBand as an AUV3 plugin. Once again, we can use the keyboard there, and there we go. There you go. So Omnicorrective Creativity says, yes, there is a 15.4.1 that has come out, unless your phone is older, has not received the update. So it's 15.4.1. Has that fixed this issue? Should we have a bit of a live look in? Because I did update my phone to that version, but I'm wondering if I updated this. If that's the fix, that's fantastic. But I don't know it. I thought I'd throw it out here on Front Street just to make sure. So let's go into my settings here, and we'll make sure I've actually updated to the latest version. It'll be a good test if I haven't here. Yep, I am up to date. So I'm at 15.4.1 here, so I'm completely up to date, and we're still getting this issue with external MIDI instruments. There you go. You still have to open Inter-App and AUV3s before opening in GarageBand. Well, for some you do. For Ravenscroft, you actually don't. Like a lot of them these days, it'll open it within. I think Inter-App audio is a bit different, but AUV3, it'll just open straight up here in there. So it should be good to go. See, it just loads up Ravenscroft there, and then it's there and there as well. So I don't know the extent of this issue. I don't know who it's affecting and what, but I wanted to put it out here because this is a GarageBand show. It's an iOS music creation show. And if you're having those problems, hey, at least if we share them, what does that say? A problem shared is a problem halved or something like that? I don't think that's really correct, but we'll see how we go. Don't have that problem at all. Yeah, so there you go. So this is weird that it's happening. I'll have to do some more testing and some more looking into it because, yeah, I hadn't noticed the problem, but then again, I don't use any standalone apps. And apparently the folks that were reporting this are those that are using MIDI apps, completely standalone in iOS or iPad OS when they updated to 15.4. And there's a whole forum post. So if anyone wants to go in there and be the hero and help the folks in the forum, that's linked down in the description if you want to check it on out. The other big news that we had this week is that it's what I call GarageBand adjacent. And that is that we've got a brand new version of iMovie. And in fact, we're going to be taking a quick look at this and some of the features a little bit later in the show. But there is a brand new version of iMovie available here for your iPad or your iPhone. And the big change here is, as well as just the regular movie, so you've always been able to come in here and just select your clips and create a movie manually, but they finally added some new options here, the storyboard and the magic movie options as well. So we'll be taking a little bit of a look at what those do later in the show. But if you haven't updated to iMovie 3.0, again, I haven't found any issues with this one. I think it's going to be okay. You will need to be on iOS 15 to get it, at least. So make sure you're updated to at least that iOS 15. But again, if you're in the middle of a critical project and you don't use iMovie, don't update just to get iMovie 3. It doesn't do a lot different. There's nothing new in the actual movie. So once you actually get in to the movie creation, so if we just open up this one, once you're in the actual movie creation section here, apart from the storyboard mode here, there's nothing actually new. If you're just in a regular version like this one, it's all the same stuff. So you've got all the same editing tools. If you go into the clips here and the timeline, you've got all the same editing tools as we've had before. But anything that improves or free, it's like when we get a GarageBand update. Even if it's an update you're not going to use, if it's free, why not? Why not just download it and take a look? Unless, of course, like I say, you're in the middle of a big project and you don't want to risk it. That's the thing you don't want to do. Let's check the other things that we may have. So Creator, the other news, which is GarageBand adjacent. It's actually the Creator Town Hall this week. So if you missed last week's, we had Rockin' Ronnie Ward from How to App on iOS. No, that would be Jade Star from Homegrown Indie Live. We had Rockin' Ronnie Ward. That was a lot of fun. And this week, we've got the one and only Jamie Mallender. So keep an eye out. If you're not on the mailing list, go to studiolivetoday.com/email. Make sure you're on the mailing list because chatting with Jamie Mallender, who is a Cubase's user, but we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about creating on iOS, why he chooses Cubase's over something like Aurea or GarageBand, why he uses iOS over desktop. It'll be an interesting chat. If you're into your mobile creating, it'll be fun having a chat with Jamie and talking about that. And he's also doing this sort of gig sort of full time now as well. So we'll chat a little bit more about that and how he's approaching making it, because it's different. I was chatting over the weekend. It's different when you turn your hobby, which is music creation, into your job, balancing it out and making sure you're still having fun and enjoying music creation. That can be a bit of a challenge at times. Let's dive in and see if we've got any questions or anyone who has any other additional comments. We've got any? Have you tried a reset? So that's a good point. You know what we'll do? I'll do that. We'll turn it off and on. What is it? The universal reset. I'm going to try that. So I'm going to do a complete reset of my iPad. I'm going to slide it to power off. You can't see this on my screen because it'll go away anyway. So I've turned my iPad completely off. We are going to turn it completely back on. Because you're right, Thomas, as if I didn't try the universal fix. The turn it off and on reset is often the best way to do it. Now, I've forgotten how to turn on my iPad. You have to press both buttons now. There is no power button anymore. Yes, do that testing and pesting and investing. Clayton Clue says, my MIDI never seems to work until I hit the same note on the iPad and the MIDI keyboard I'm using. Then it starts to work. Oh, that's weird. Sometimes that settles things. There's obviously, oh, there we go. The iPad's back up. Yeah, there's obviously different experiences from different people, which is the worst thing. When not everyone's having the same problem, that's usually the worst. It makes it even more difficult. Omnicollective Creativity, I liked your description of the new features. Could almost imagine the orientation of the stuff on the screen as you described them. Almost. Yeah. So if you don't know, Omnicollective Creativity is vision impaired. Oh, my iPad's telling me all sorts of things. Test flight needs updating, apparently. Yeah, and look, people say to me, why do you talk so much when you're doing things? And that's because we do have a fairly large chunk of the viewership here that are vision impaired or completely blind. So the reason that I talk a lot and I explain things, and when I put comments up on the screen, I'll read them out as well as show them whenever I can, is that we have a lot of folks that either are listening on audio only, even myself. Like I do have sight in one eye, but I still listen to a lot of videos. So yeah, I like it when people explain what they're doing. Jade Star says, yep, MIDI works on every app. Strange. Yeah, and it is strange. And I'm going to do some more testing because I've got I've still got my iPad Air 2 that's on iOS 15.3. So I'll do some direct comparisons as well because it's a bit weird. And it does seem to be people, there's variety of people having different sorts of problems. So who bloody knows? I wonder what Pete's thinking about BandLab lately. Why did he take this on? No. So yes, that is the other news, and thank you for the reminder there. If you haven't been following along on the series where I'm taking a look at BandLab, you can of course do that if you just go to your. Here's the thing. I was chatting with someone about this today. Someone sent me a message and they're like, "Oh Pete, I just wanted to ask, is there a good de-esser for iOS?" And then this was overnight, and then by the time I got there this morning, they'd already answered it, saying, "Oh, I went and looked, and I saw that you had your video about a de-esser espresso from Clevgrand." So sorry, I always do that. I ask before I look, and I'm like, I'm always happy to hear your questions, but it's so much quicker if you use the built-in Pete brain that's here in YouTube. It's so much easier. Oh, there's Jade Star. I'll set a reminder for that while I'm here. It's so much. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. It's so much easier to use this brain. Where if you just type this in, so if you want to see my videos about BandLab, you just come into the YouTube and you type Pete Johns BandLab, and there you go. There's my beginner's guide, and there's my vocals, guitar, and bass. And to answer your question, Clayton, I'm liking BandLab. I think it's got a heap of potential. I think it's early in its journey. It's like, it reminds me of GarageBand 5 years ago when, you only had 16-bit audio and you only had 16 tracks and you didn't have all of the bells and whistles. I think BandLab's a bit like that. I think it's starting to find its footing as something that's going to be super cool. So yeah, I like it. Latency is the biggest issue. So I'm working through at the moment, trying to work out how do we record without latency being a problem with guitars and vocals. So at the moment, you kind of just have to accept it and shimmy things around like you had to in the old days with latency. But yeah, I'm sure as things progress, it will get better and better. And maybe I need to try some different browsers as well, and we'll see how things go. Is it just me or am I talking a lot today? I think so. We'll see if we've got any other questions before we continue on here. BandLab and VoiceOver do not work together. Yeah, and that's the thing. Not every app is going to work for everyone, for every situation, but having options, a variety is the spice of life. Spice. Should we jump into our feature topic? Because I want to play with GarageBand. See, at the moment, because I've been doing so much in BandLab, I haven't been able to explore the new GarageBand Synth Drums to the best of their ability. So actually, before we do that, let's just jump in here. We'll load up GarageBand. Yep, Ravenscroft should still be working here within the app. Come on. Yep, still working and working with the MIDI keyboard. Let's just load it up while it's there as well. Let's just come in here and go Ravenscroft, and we'll use the screen. Hey, guess what? Working. Is Thomas Christ a genius and all it required was to turn it off and on? I think that might be the case. I can't believe... this is why this community is so awesome. I can't believe that I tell everyone, before you do anything, before you freak out, turn it off and on, and you should be golden. So is this just a case? Let's just close everything. Let's start from scratch. Let's pretend I'm a person and I'm doing a thing. I'm loading nothing. I'm just loading Ravenscroft. It's up here on the screen. We'll wait for it to load the piano. There's the screen, and see, this time it's not working. That's really super weird, isn't it? So if it's almost like... Maybe that's a hack. Maybe that's a workaround. Maybe because I use GarageBand and maybe Jade's using AUM or some sort of host first, that maybe that's the key to getting it to work over here. Because while it's running there, it's working here. Or is that just working in GarageBand? Am I tricking myself because it's actually... It's probably just using the background audio from GarageBand there. Let's turn it off. Yeah, that might be the case. All right. Well, back to the drawing board. More work to be done. It is not bad piano sound. It is very, very good. Ahmed Anvil says, I can't BandLab on my iPad. You should be able to. There is the app there. Let me know. Let me know what trouble you're having with the BandLab on the iPad, because it should be working for you. Anyway, I'm going to pause on that one. I'll do some more investigation. But if you're watching here on the replay and you are having problems with MIDI, or if you've solved it, then do let me know. Do let me know what you've done, or give me an update on how things are tracking, because a lot of people are frustrated. I don't use a lot of MIDI, so it doesn't super impact me, but a lot of people seem to be super duper frustrated with it not working, because there's... Let's be honest, there's nothing worse than when you update something. It should make it better and more stable. But as we know, those of us that have used iOS for years, not always the case. It's always one step forward, sometimes one or even two steps back, because sometimes you break things. You fix things and you break things. Hello, Gary Hubs as well. Hope you're doing well. Let's continue on here, because we want to create some stuff. I'll just delete out some old stuff here. So let's hit create song. Let's have a play with the Modular Synth Drums, because I think this is going to be a lot of fun for if you're a beat maker or you're creating sounds here in GarageBand. This is going to be a pretty cool pack for you, because I've already started playing around with it in the tutorial video that I originally did, which you can check out down in the description. But I didn't spend a lot of time with it. So let's come back in here. Now I'll first of all, we'll filter out here. We'll reset the filter there. So what I like to do when I'm playing around with the pack is, first of all, I'm going to add in one of the loops. So one of the basic loops that we have here in Apple Loops. So I'm just here in my regular screen. We're going to hit the loop button there, and we're going to hit filter by. Now, if you go to your sound packs there, you can scroll on down and you can actually filter by just the modular rhythms. Most of you know this, but I know that we have new viewers every week to this show. So we'll go there, we'll go back to Apple Loops, and now we can play around and find something that's going to work. So I usually start with something, so you've got a lot of toppers here. I usually start with something that's going to be more of like just the basic beat. So what's a bit of dirt and grime maybe? Let's sample a few of these. That's a bit extreme. Was it the dark automation? I like that one. It's got a few like bubbles and it's got a bit of a cool syncopated rhythm. So let's bring this dark automation into here. and whack it down there. We'll do that. We'll do an 8-bar little loop here. So we'll just make that 4 bars, and then we'll vary it up. So this is the fun that you can have with these loops. We'll vary up that. We'll use the Dark Automation 2 maybe. Yeah, so we'll go from that to that. So then we're going to get this sort of sound with a few pops. I like it. Yeah, this is, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, it's very Trent Reznor, it's very industrial, but I definitely do get an industrial feel from this. So that's our basic sort of bed. Now we can sort of play around with this a little bit. So the other way I like to add drums, if we hit the plus button here, is to use the beat sequencer, because to me, this can help you kind of shape the sound that you're looking for and where those hits come in here. So we'll go to the beat sequencer here, and the first thing I want to do is select my kit. So down to the bottom left, we're going to tap that. We're going to go to recently downloaded. We're going to go, I keep forgetting the name of this pack. It is the Modular. Where are you, Modular? Of course, it's not in alphabetical order. It's in just a random order of no particular importance. All right, we'll go with one of these. And why don't we go with the Micro Modular? I don't think I've played with this one. No, I don't love that. Let's try something else. We will go with one of the the Plonky. The Plonky is the one that I like. Because this has like this sort of kick drum here. Oops, not playing it now. I've forgotten how to make, shouldn't it make the sound when you tap it? It doesn't, does it? For whatever reason, I thought when you tapped something on there, it made the sound. Now, if we want to blank this out, what we need to do is tap on this one here, and this is going to go to our pattern browser. Sadly, there's no easy way except to scroll all the way to the left. And I don't think they designed this thinking that there would be that many different patterns and that many different drum kits, but we just need a new pattern here. So what we want to do is work out where our kick drum hits are going to be on this particular pattern. So we'll just turn it off for now. I'm just going to listen to the background. So I'm hearing, yeah, so it's doing the dom, dom. So I think it's there and there, is it? So I'll line this up with that. Do, do. Do. Do, do. We need a little gap there. No, I think it's going to just be there and there. Do, 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 do. I think that's the rhythm. Now if we hit the play button with this. Yes, and now we need some hats. We need something high in here. So I think the hi-hats are going to be sort of on the off beats here. So let's see if we can get this going on. Something like that. Bring that in with our beat. I kind of like that. So that's kind of our basic beat there. And the good thing about the beat sequencer is you've got a lot more control than just using your regular loops. So we'll hit the record button and then we'll hit the play button here, the little power button here, and this will record this beat sequencer over the top of our loop. And what we'll do is we'll vary this up on the fly. There you go. So you can change it. You can actually change your pattern as you play and it will change what you've got there. So I think that's a good sort of basis for something like this to give us this kind of rhythm. Let's go back and find something that's a little bit fun, that's a topper now. So we'll go back to our loops here and we'll scroll down to the bottom because the ones that start with like numbers later in the alphabet often don't get a lot of love. So let's try some of these tricky rhythm things. No, we need something a bit higher up. So we'll go to the topper actually. That's not bad. That'd be a good one for like a break in the second half. Yeah, so let's go with the number 3 to start with, like that. Just scroll out a bit so we can grab the end handle. We'll make that for our first half. And then I kind of liked the number 4 for the second half. And again, we'll vary that and bring it back. So I recorded a little bit too long. So we just want the 8 bars. So now we've got these toppers on the top here. That's kind of cool. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to make some really complex and interesting syncopated rhythms in here. Now, of course, the one limitation of this pack is that it only has rhythm sounds. It doesn't actually have any melodic sounds. However, there is kind of a workaround where you can use anything as a melodic sound, and that is our sampler. So I thought I would show that here because it's underrated in terms of options you have here in GarageBand. So if we come to our keyboard, we're going to tap on the sampler here. And what we're going to do, yes, we could use our dog bark, but I don't think we want to do that. We can actually import samples, and we can import loops from our sound packs. So if you tap on the bark button, the button at the top there, and you go to import, not only can you import your own files, but you can import directly from Apple Loops. And you can see here, it'll actually filter however you've got your Apple Loops filtered. So we can actually find a loop here. Now, the problem with a loop is obviously you generally want a one shot if you're using something like this. But if we grab something like, say, Rusty Circuits here, we'll just tap on it. Now, we need something that's a bit more melodic. So maybe this one here. That could be fun. So what we'll do is we'll hit the import button there. That's going to bring this in here. And now when we hit the keyboard, it's going to play that whole loop. And we can do that. Now you probably realize that we don't want a whole loop. We just want part of that. So what you can actually do is you can trim it down. You can use these trim handles. Now, sadly, you can't trim it down any smaller than that. But what I tend to find is that you can find something like this that you can just, oh, there you go. You know what? I just learned something. If you tap and hold, I forgot that you had the zoom function. Isn't it amazing? If you tap and hold, it'll zoom in and it gives you more precise control over your start and finish. You've still got a minimum, I think, of like half a second there. But now, so it's still got that little tick afterwards because you can't get it any smaller than that. Let's just see if we can, is there anything that we can grab that's not going to be like that? No, everything is, there's so much going on in these loops that you can't just isolate. But if we use it up high like I'm planning to, so if we go up an octave or two, cool. Now let's try, there is an option in here. If we go to our details, can we do the detect pitch? I don't think we can with this one. No, it won't. It won't let us do the detect pitch because it thinks it's a rhythm, which it kind of is. So we're just going to have to kind of guess here and use this. So if we hit the play button, let's see if we can. All right, I think I know what I want to do here. I want to create a little sort of that sort of staccato rhythm, and we want this to come in from the second half. So let's record this. Because when you hold down, you can kind of get a cool sound like that when you're using the sampler. So let's come back and let's just see if this is going to work for us. I don't think I need that bit I did in the first half, but if we just come in here and we'll turn the volume up a little bit. And what I'll do also, let's play with some panning. So we'll come in here and we'll pan this over to the left, and then we'll do something different on the right. Yeah, I like it. All right. Let's try something else. We'll do one more sampler track and we'll find some other cool sound to put in here. So we'll tap the sampler. We'll once again go in here and we'll import a sample by hitting the import button and Apple Loops. I want to find something that's almost like maybe that plonky one again. The plonky or the plonk cycles. That could have a good sound in it. All right. So we'll load that one in. We'll import this one into our sound. And maybe even just that first little plonk that we get there, like a... And again, that's the problem, is it makes you bring in too much. So what you could do is chop it somewhere else. So you could chop it out in Audio Share and then bring just the chopped part in here. So if you had a little bit more time, you want to play around with it, you could do that. But we'll just use this for now. And I think... Yeah, let's do something like that. I think that could be cool. So we'll hit the record. There you go. And the reason I wanted to show all of this is that a lot of people think that when you're using loops here in GarageBand, it's like, well, your music's going to sound just like everyone else's music. How do you differentiate it? How do you make your stuff sound different? Well, you do it by combining different loops. Yeah. You do it by, the other thing we can do is changing up your key signature. So let's put this into B flat major, because I can never play in B flat major. So that will make it a bit fun. And I think this needs to go a bit faster. So why don't we make this, say, 123, just because it's a weird tempo. And now if we play... Yeah, we got some cool sounds there. And these ones that we custom made here, these are going to be, no one else has chopped this particular part of this sample in this order and made this noise, right? I like it. It's a lot of fun to play around with. If you've never experienced using some loops and using some samples, look, I'm a guitar and a mic guy. I love creating my own sounds as well, but this is kind of cool. And then, of course, everything we've used so far has been from that pack. You can, of course, then start combining with other stuff. So this sounds like it needs kind of a cool, maybe even the Epic Cloud Formation, which is my favorite sort of pad sound here. Maybe we'll use that note there. And sometimes just playing a single note for a pad here can actually sound really cool if we just play it. So again, it's very subtle there, but just holding down that one note and moving it around a bit, we'll just solo it so you can hear what that sounds like here. Right? Fun times. So there you go. If you haven't explored the new pack, it is definitely worth a look and worth your time checking out. Download it for free. Check out the tutorial down below if you want to see exactly how to use it in its simplest form. But I kind of like it. Modular Synth Drums for the win. We'll jump back over to the chat here and see if anyone's got any questions. Well, here's the wing. Exactly right. Let's hope GarageBand shows more love to rock and metal. We are waiting for a metal pack. We need a metal pack. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? It's very good. Hello, Mike and Dawn Janice. Gonna have to come back and watching a movie with the hubby. Movies are important. Go watch the movies. Fun times. Hello to Dan Ekberg Music, by the well. Hello to Vaztech. Hello, Christo. All we need is fully editable instruments already in GarageBand and the synths, etc. we choose on the iPad. I loaded these, but the audio unit support is the best thing. Yeah, look, AUV3 in GarageBand iOS, super cool. Works well. Hello to Egg. How? Trial and error. So was that the end part of it? I want to ask you, how can I play lower notes on guitar? Good question. Let's jump in and show you that. So this is a tip that works well for any instrument that has a physical instrument input here in GarageBand. So for instance, as you probably know, you can play a virtual guitar here in GarageBand by going and tapping on the guitar, and then you get the ability to play a guitar. You can go into notes mode, but the lowest note you can get on the guitar is a low E, right? Or is it? There's a couple of ways around this. So the first way around is to record it in and then transpose it. So then to actually scroll it down. So let's just do a recording here so I can show you how this works. All right, so we've recorded in a little guitar part to go with our weird Trent Reznor style song here. So we've got that there. All we need to do now is tap on that one and hit the edit button, and we can actually move this down, because you'll notice that we have... Oh, actually, no, we can't, because it puts it as a guitar. I think it'll let us go down to D, but it assumes that... Oh, no, it goes down to C. There you go. So that's the lowest point it'll put it to. And it doesn't even do that actually, because that's where it stores the chord information, because GarageBand doesn't actually use MIDI note information. So that looks like it's the lowest place it'll go down, is which is down to what, a C. So you can drop it down to a C there, but what you can do is, if instead of playing this on a guitar instrument, if you play it on the keyboard, you can actually make it lower. How do we do that? Well, what we do is, instead of selecting the guitar, let's just mute out that one, we hit the plus button here, and we actually select the keyboard. Stay with me here. It's a hack, but it works. So we go to More Sounds, and if you go back to your main categories up the top and down to Other, down the bottom here, what you can do is you can actually select these guitars. So if we wanted that same guitar we were using, the Roots Rock guitar, we can select this one, and now we can go down there, but we can, oh, can we not go down there? I may have sold you up the river here. It seems that we can't go down below C1. We can't go down to C0. So what you're actually going to have to do is use yet another hack here. So let's record this again. So we'll do the C trick. Sorry, I was using my mouse there, so it didn't work particularly well. So yeah, this is interesting. So we can't actually do that. You would have to instead use one of your plugins. So the plugin that I would suggest to use for this is your pitch plugin here that comes free with GarageBand. It is the AU New Pitch, and we can tap on this one, go to New Pitch, and we can actually bring this down. So minus 2.4 is 2 octaves. So if we go to minus 1.2, it's a little bit hard to get the exact measurements here. Almost exactly right. Let's solo that. So listen to that. Or we could go down 2 entire octaves if you want to take the pitch scale down at 2400 cents you get. And there is an easier one to use that is, it's not the new pitch. What is it? It's the, I think it's just called AU pitch. There's 2 different pitch controls here. And there's also the vocal, what's the other one called? The vocal pitch. Yeah, so this one, AU pitch, which you can adjust the pitch a little bit easier here, I think. Yeah, so this one you can do the same sort of thing. Actually, it's exactly the same. It uses the same, but it's got a lot more options here to make it sound a little bit more realistic. So, or you could use both of them and take it down like 4 octaves by layering up 2 different ones. So there you go. I honestly thought you'd go below that C1, but I haven't used the guitars for a while here in GarageBand. So yeah, there's a few tips anyway. A few options that you have for getting those low down guitar sounds here in GarageBand. Or you could use the bass instrument, of course. That would be the easier way. Vocal Transformer is the one. Yes, Vocal Transformer. Yeah, or you could use bass. Let's just show those real quick. You could, of course, just use the bass guitar if you actually wanted a lower sound, because the bass guitar does go down an extra octave. So if you grab the bass guitar here, you can actually go, you can go with lower notes there. Or what Thomas Christ was talking about is the Vocal Transformer, which, even though it's called the Vocal Transformer, can be used on any other instrument here. So we can come in here and we can go to this one here. Oh, this time we're over on the effects side, and you go to Vocal Transformer. And this one might actually be easier because you can actually do it based on semitones. In fact, use this one, because this one you can just set let's go right down to minus 24. And this one to minus 24. How low is this going to be? Are we even going to be able to hear this? Barely. Yeah. So yeah, there's an option. There's some options for you there. With butter and salt, yeah, go into settings and bring it down an octave. So there's yet another way that you can do it. Thank you. So we can actually transpose. Under settings here, you can transpose down as well. So we can go octaves here and bring it down there. Okay, now we're down like about 7 octaves. We won't actually hear anything now, will we? I think I'm going to crash it. I'm going to break GarageBand here. Oh! It just sounds like noise now. You really can't hear it down there, can you? So yeah, there's another option. So if you don't want to play around with any of those plugins, again, because the community here are awesome, yes, you can, of course, transpose it. That's, I think, the method I was using before. So when I was coming in here and trying to edit and trying to drag it down, I was trying to find those lower notes, whereas all you really need to do is, instead of going into edit there in your MIDI, if you go to settings instead, you can just use the octave transposition there to drop it down. So there you go. We've got some low down sounds there in GarageBand. But good questions, good discussion. Thank you for asking, and thanks for everyone for sharing it. Yeah, it does. And anytime you're adjusting pitch, remember it is going to create some artifacts and things. So you do need to be aware of that. Yeah, great job. Well done. Go team. Bringing it all together. Yeah, I'm listening on my laptop and the quality is, yeah, exactly. That's something you definitely do have to keep in mind. All right, let's go to my notes here. What are we talking about here? Okay, rant of the week. We're 40 minutes in, so we're running a little bit behind. But a quick rant here. And I read a book a long time ago, and it was called Eat That Frog. And I do recommend it. I've talked about it before. The basic premise of that is that if there's something you've been putting off, the best time to actually just start doing it is now. And the reason I say start doing it is that the problem with things is that we think that they're overwhelming. We think that they're so huge, and our brain finds it difficult to chunk things down. So you think that if you want to create a song, you think, oh my God, I got to write an intro, and then I got to write a verse and a chorus and a bridge and a second chorus and a final chorus, and then I got to mix it, then I got to master it, then I got to release it, and then but before you've even started, you're already overwhelmed. But when you chunk things down, when you work out how do I get started, that can really help things out. So my advice today is going to be very, very simple, and that is, that thing that you've been meaning to do for a long time. Guess what? Guess when the best time to start doing that is? Yeah, you got it, right now. So why not start that thing that you've been meaning to do? If you've been wanting to check out BandLab, go watch my tutorial and start using BandLab. If you've been always wanting to write a punk song, well, get 8 bars of 4 on the floor drums and start penciling out a punk song. The thing is, you don't have to finish it this week. You don't have to finish it today or this week or even this year if you don't want to. But the first step is to start. I always say that everyone starts at 0. And if you've got that thing that's hanging over you that you've been wanting to do for a while, the best time to start doing it is right now. So eat that frog. And eating that frog just means do the unpleasant thing that is the barrier to the pleasant thing. Because there's a couple of things that'll happen. You'll feel much better because you've actually done it. And 9.9 times out of 10, the block, the barrier that you've got there is not as bad as you think it's going to be. It's actually just going to take you a little bit of time to do it. And for me, the reason I mentioned BandLab is I've been putting off learning BandLab for a long time. I've been putting off trying Logic for a long time. I was putting off moving to a Mac for a long time because I thought it would be really hard. And part of it is. But the overall end game is positive, and you don't have to do it all at once. Again, your brain will trick you into thinking, it'll overwhelm you, it'll put you into overwhelm, making you think that you have to do everything at once. Just get started. And the cool thing, that the hack to this, if you're one of those people that like life hacks, the hack is, what's the smallest amount that I can do of this today that'll make me feel like I've made progress? So, and this is an old writing tip, that is, if you say, if I can write 4 lines today, that's 4 more lines than I would have written if I wrote nothing. So instead of going, I need to write a paragraph, I need to write a page, I need to write 10 pages of this novel, of this whatever I'm writing, if I can write 4 lines. And I do the same thing with music. I say, if you can create 8 bars of 4 tracks today of an idea that you're sketching out, won't that be progress? Isn't that a step towards what you need to do? So I say, get started. Do it today. Get it done. Because, it's worthwhile. Tremor Bear hasn't done any new music in months, mostly because he's waiting for me to get off my Slack lazy butt and record a video so that he can do a video for his Illusion song that we've been working on for a while. A guy in elementary school accidentally swallowed a frog heart. Well, that's weird. We don't mean it literally. Yeah, don't go out and start eating frogs. Right. Pete said to eat frogs. Yeah, just do it. Do the Nike slogan, time travel and do it yesterday to get a head start. Absolutely. They've said that. And a lot of people said to me, actually Jade Starr asked a question when she interviews people. She says, when would you think the best time to start music? And it's a rhetorical question because of course the answer should be now. But there's a lot of things, like when people say, when should you have started YouTube? The answer is 10 years ago when YouTube was like really good. That's the best time, and the second best time is now. And it's the same with anything. The best time is to have started is a while ago. Like weight loss. If you're trying to lose a few kilos, best time to start losing weight is a year ago, a month ago, a week ago. Second best time is now. So get in there and do it. Get it done. BBS, is it just me or have you asked this question most weeks? And I thought we'd answered it, but let me just read it and I'll see if I can answer it and then we'll move on to the next thing. Screen recorder, can I drag that in GarageBand on the Mac? I try to do it in GarageBand on the phone, but it doesn't work. Someone told me I can do it on the Mac inside GarageBand. I think we let you know. So screen recorder, and then the MP3 converter, what is it called? The file converter app. So if you're on iOS, just record your screen, and then you can throw that video file that you get from that into there. Or, you know what, get LumaFusion. Honestly, for all the hassle that it will take you to do a lot of these things, file conversions and converting video to audio and mono to stereo and all this stuff, LumaFusion has an audio-only mode where you throw any video into the LumaFusion app and then you export it as audio-only, and it will save you a heck of a lot of time and effort with that. As far as the Mac goes, yeah, there's heaps of other apps and ways to convert files on Mac. You'll have no problems finding tips and tricks of how to do that. All right. Plugin or app of the week. And I alluded to this before, but I'm going to give you a quick crash course tour of iMovie 3.0. Now, if you've seen the video that I did during the week, you would have seen that I did a complete rundown of what iMovie is all about now. But I thought for those, again, let's take a step back. I recommend LumaFusion. LumaFusion's about a $30 app in the US. It's about $50 to buy here in Australia. It does go on sale from time to time. It is my go-to video editor. So if we come in here, I'll show you the difference here. This is LumaFusion, and this is what I use for, if you've ever watched a tutorial video, look, you can see right there, there's a tutorial video. If you've ever watched a video here on this channel, it's been edited in LumaFusion. Even when I do these shows and I do something, I'll clip it out of StreamYard that I use to do my live streaming. I'll throw that video into LumaFusion and I'll chop it up and edit it there. Why? Because you've got a whole bunch of tools here. You've got 6 layers of video. You've got 6 layers of audio. You've got the ability to chop. You've got multiple transitions. You've got audio options. So yeah, when I said before that you can export, so if I just wanted to grab this video, I can export this as audio only and come in here and share it to wherever I want. So there's just a lot of options you have in LumaFusion. However, if you don't want to spend 30 clams, iMovie is actually a decent option, and a lot of folks use iMovie, and traditionally you can use iMovie by just tapping on movie here. You can grab some clips, so if we just select a couple of clips of me wandering around here, you hit create movie, it puts those clips together, and there you go. It's put a lot more together. So there you go. You can use these and you can change your transitions by clicking in here and changing from a direct, the fade transition to just a direct cut transition. You can adjust your clips by grabbing the handles here and moving them around. You can move clips in your timeline by just tapping them and dragging them around. So it's a very basic but highly customizable. You can change the speed, you can adjust the volume of your thing, you can add text and titles. Sure, they'll all kind of look the same. You've all seen the different titles, the little motion titles that are used here. The gravity one's a bit of a classic one there. So yeah, the problem is you will look pretty much like everyone else who uses iMovie. You've even got filters there if you want to go the Instagram look. There we go. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do in iMovie. But what iMovie have added is the ability to use... Now, I need to work out, and let me know if you think that this is going to be good. There's now the storyboard mode and the Magic Movie mode. And I'm wondering, Magic Movie... We've had this in iMovie and Mac and in other things for a while. This is basically where you come in here and you select a bunch of things and you go, yeah, we want this and this and this and this and this, and then you create a Magic Movie. And it creates a movie from all of those clips, but it sort of works out the interesting parts of the clips and it puts them to music based on a theme. So if we hit play on this one now... What's new? And you can hear there that, it ducks the audio when you've got image only, and it does things like the Ken Burns effect to kind of move across your photos and things. It's a pretty cool option there. You can come in here and change all your themes. There's a whole bunch of different themes from the music that you use. You can use your own music, or you can use the built-in soundtracks. You can change all the options. It's pretty darn cool. So for a musician though, I'm wondering, and I think I need to try this, the storyboard mode. So sadly, there is not a music video mode in here. So I don't know what would sort of be the best one for a music video. I'm going to try this out by doing a product review. I've got some products that I need to review, so I'm going to try actually using the product review here. So I don't know whether something like a trailer or a reveal or even like a film, probably film would be the closest to it, wouldn't it? Let's see what film has. So if we come in here to film, you've got the different styles that you can choose here. I mean, none of these really look like the sort of thing we'd want for there. We'll go with the poster style there. We'll hit the create button here. So what the storyboard mode does is it tells you the different things that you need in here. So like a environment shot, a character shot. So I guess if you were doing a movie, a music video that was kind of like a story, then maybe this could actually work. And it does. It gives you the world, your tension, what's going to actually happen there, and then your climax. Hang on, and then your climax. So you've got all of the options that you have in there, and then your resolution at the end. So it basically just tells you what sort of clips you should bring into here. So I'm wondering if this is going to work if I went out and shot a movie and then brought it into here and then added my own sound, because you can, of course, then add your own, as you saw before. Instead of using the music that we have here, you can bring in your own music. So if I go to Files, I can bring in my own. I go to Audio Share, I can bring in my own song. So if I use, say, my song College, wasn't actually on the thing, so I have to download it. That was a bad choice, but that's all right. We'll just wait for it to download from iCloud Drive to my folder, and boom. So now I've got my song College in here. So as I come in here, we'll hit done. As I come in here and add sort of my opening clip here, which we'll just go here, we'll go edit clip. Oh, it's just the title text. That's right. So we'll add a clip to this next section here. Choose from library. We'll grab a picture of me. There we go. So what we'll find is that when we come back here to our timeline and we play this, it'll have my song, or it should anyway. Why doesn't it have my song? I think because it's got the audio from that video actually had its own audio. Well, we'll play around with that in the future. But yeah, you can actually change the music here. So I'm just wondering if it's going to be relevant for creating movies or for creating music videos or other behind the scenes stuff, or is it just easier to go new project and to go movie and then to just set it up your timeline and do it that way? Or, you know what? Is it easier to use LumaFusion because it's got so much better editing options? I don't know, but it's fun. It's an option, and if you're just getting into video editing and if you're just starting to create in GarageBand, it can be a great thing to do. And look, even if you just want to create visualizations or just a background movie that has your album artwork and then has your music playing over the top, it's an option. It's something that you can play around with. So worth checking out there. And again, it's free. Like, can you believe that we have these free things that we have on our devices? Is this new iMovie? Yes, it's iMovie 3.0. So it's a very cool addition. Yes, Jade makes her music videos in LumaFusion, and Jade's actually, especially if you're a patron of Jade, she does a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff where she shows a lot about LumaFusion. I know, I was the one taking the video, and I act surprised. But yeah, if you are getting serious, it's a bit like GarageBand and then moving, I guess, into Logic if you're on the Mac, or maybe if you move into Audio or Cubases. Like, GarageBand is the great free option that just keeps getting better. iMovie is the great free option that just keeps getting better. And then once you graduate from there, once you want some more features, or iMovie's not doing everything you need, well, then you can go up to LumaFusion and it'll work well for you. Alrighty, let me check my notes here and see where we're up to. So one final thing that I wanted to do here today, and this is a bit self-serving, but I thought we'd talk about copyright. I thought our tip of the week this week is that we'll talk about copyright, because I do a show, you may be aware of it, it's called Your Music Live, and I do a show where I play other people's music and I play other people's music videos, and this is actually related to kind of everything we're just talking about, to music and to music videos, because every week I get copyright claims on the videos that I play, because I play other people's music. Now, the majority of the time, those copyright claims come from the music that I play. So I play people's music, they release it through DistroKid or through TuneCore or through CD Baby, and they choose to add YouTube Content ID, which is cool. And when YouTube Content ID identifies that I've actually played someone else's song, it will put a copyright claim. And I get between 5 and 10. In fact, rather than talk about it, why don't we jump in and I'll show you this week's Your Music Live behind the scenes, and you can see exactly what happens. So I do my show, and then I get an email that says, well, I don't have the email here, but it says, you've got a copyright claim. Go to your YouTube Creator Studio to find out what's going on. And what I do is I jump over here and I go to my Your Music Live show, and I come down here and I go, yep, restrictions, copyright claim, cool. And usually this part here just says public. This time around, something a little different. It says partially blocked, because I've actually got one that's been blocked in some countries. And it's not the audio, it's the video. So this is where, as a creator, you've got to be careful on both fronts. You've got to be careful about your audio, that you're not sampling or plagiarizing or using other people's music in your videos, or you're going to get copyright claims. If you're using their original videos, you may even get, or their original audio, you may get copyright strikes. So if you play the entire song Hotel California, and I always pick on the Eagles because they're very particular. If you play Hotel California behind your home videos, you put that on YouTube, you're going to get a copyright strike, and it's going to issue a takedown notice, or it's going to say that's been blocked in X number of countries. So this partially blocked is something that I need to work out what has gone on here. Now let's look at the copyright claim details. So if I hover over that, I can hit this See Details button. This is going to bring up all of the songs that are affecting this. So monetization is ineligible. That's the first thing to know. That means that any money that is made by YouTube placing ads, I don't put ads myself on Your Music Live. It's a sponsored show. DistroKid sponsor it, so I don't put ads on there. But YouTube can choose to put ads on there, and if they do, any money that's made from those ads doesn't go to me. It goes to all these folks, all the people who have Content ID copyrighted songs that I've played on the show. So that's the first thing to know there. My channel impact. So if it's just a copyright claim, it doesn't impact your channel. It doesn't give you a community strike. It doesn't impact your ability to run your YouTube channel. And it says there, the Content ID claim on your video does not affect your channel. This is not a copyright strike. If that was red and it says strike, guess what? Just like everything in life, 3 strikes and you're out. So if you are using other people's music directly without their permission, you're running a pretty big risk. All right, let's look at what this looks like. So here's a lot of the other artists that we've got here. They've got the name of the artist there and the song. And if I click one of these down arrows, it'll bring up the portion of the video. So it'll say, yep, monetized in some countries, copyright owners, UMG. So this is because this person actually sampled some deadmau5 track inside their song. So it'll tell me where it is. I can play the segment there if I want to. So that's one of those. If we come down here, so this one here, Deep Dark Water by Distant Towers. So this one is an independent artist that's released using CD Baby. And I find that a lot of CD Baby, because I think CD Baby have a package where they put YouTube Content ID on there as part of what you pay, whereas someone like DistroKid, you actually have to pay extra to have that Content ID in there. And again, my view, I don't release with Content ID. I think it's easier to just leave it off. You don't make a lot of coin from this. Like, maybe this video will get like $1 and these people will get about 10 cents for having their music played. So that's another one there. Now, the one that's of a concern is this one here. So Way Out West. And as you can see, instead of that one having the audio button there, it's got a video. It says visual claim. So video cannot be seen or monetized. So if we click on this one, it'll come down here and it'll say, look at this, blocked in some countries. And where's it blocked? It's blocked in Jamaica, Panama, Trinidad and Tobago, Bahamas, Ecuador, a whole bunch of places. So, and the one that's important to me there is Canada. Because when I first got this thing, it said, your video can't be viewed in 7% of your viewers' countries, which is basically mostly Canada. So it's not blocked in the US, it's not blocked in the UK, it's not blocked in Australia, but this NBC Universal, which is this little Laurel and Hardy clip that was in this one person's video, this is what's causing the issue. So to make sure that my Canadian friends can actually watch the replay of this, I actually need to take some action here. So what are the actions that I have here? Well, for video, if I click on this one, I only have 2 actions. I can dispute or I can trim out the segment. So what I'm going to need to do is actually trim out this segment. So unfortunately, this creator, because they use copyrighted content for their video behind their song, this is why I thought this was relevant to talk about, because it's super important that you get clearance or that you try to avoid using copyrighted content in your music videos. So we're going to hit the trim out the segment. It's going to bring it up here. It's going to say the start time it's going to trim is from 52 seconds to 52:03 to 52:41, and then from 52:54 to 53:33. And you can then preview the trimmed video that'll take the parts out of there. Now, because that's going to be a bit strange, because it's going to come back for 13 seconds and then go away, what I'll actually do, and hopefully this will work, if I just change this to 53:33, there, segments must not overlap. So if we just do that one, claim won't be automatically released. This claim won't be automatically because we adjust the segment. You believe the transcript of the claim. All right, we'll try this. So we'll try just deleting that, and then I'll check back. Maybe next week we'll have a look and see if that claim gets fixed. So we're going to remove all of that bit that it said it had. Oh, did it change that back? Oh, it did. Okay, I'm going to just have to go with what it tells me to do because it changed that time back. So we'll hit the continue button and it'll say ready to trim. This process might take a while. So we hit the trim button, and what that'll hopefully do is once that's trimmed, it'll then sort of recalibrate and it'll say, right, now that that part's not in your video, now it can actually be viewed in those places. So it'll take a while to process that. Now that's for your video. For your audio, you have other options here. So if we go to the select option, oh, we don't have it, but there's other options for audio where you can replace the audio, you can mute out the audio but leave the video, or you can trim out the segment. So audio actually has a few more flexible options that you have there. So I tell you all of this not for you to get a little violin out and say, oh, poor Pete, he has to go to this effort, he has to worry about this, because I deal with it. It's part and parcel of the show that I do. But to let folks know that if you want your songs played on shows like Your Music Live, your best bet is to release them without Content ID, because there's some people that won't play them. I don't mind. I get Content ID claims all the time. I know Thomas Christ does on his show, so I don't actually mind. But other places won't play them. So consider that, because you really, like for DistroKid, I think you pay, what is it, $15 or something to put YouTube Content ID on, or $10 a song, and it really, you're not going to recoup that money every year, just based on people playing your music and you getting those few cents from some YouTube advertising. So I don't think it's worth it, and definitely stay away from other people's copyrighted content in your songs and videos. Otherwise, you're going to run the gamut and spin the roulette wheel and roll the dice and all those other euphemisms for copyright and Content ID on YouTube. So hopefully that gave you a few insights and a bit of information, a little look behind the scenes of the stuff that I have to that I have to do each week just to run the show. So hopefully, eventually, this one over here where it says partially blocked, that'll go back to normal. In fact, if I'll come out of here, I'll show you what it should look like. So if we go to last week's show and every other week's show, it'll look similar, but instead of going blocked, it will look like this. It will say public. So it'll say, yep, you can view it. There's a copyright claim on there, which is fine. And this is last week's show. So again, we only had 3 copyright claims. If I was really concerned by those, I could come in here and here's the thing. So here's what you could do. So you can trim out the segment, you can replace the song, or you can mute the song, or you can dispute it. So if I think that I have the right to play these songs, I can dispute them if I want to. But I don't, because it's I ask people if I can play their music, and it's par for the course if they want that done. All right, we are over time, so we are going to finish up in just a moment, but I'll just see if there's any final questions. I would think that they give a proportion of the premium. Sorry. Yeah, we did get a question from Phil. What about YouTube Premium? If there are no ads, how do you make money? Yeah. So that's a good question. You know what? I know we're over time, so apologies, but this show has gone back to an hour earlier now, and I'm looking to kind of kajigger some of the other shows a little bit in the coming weeks just to make them a little earlier, because I know that our UK and European friends struggle to get to the 1 a.m. shows. But I'll show you the behind the scenes of the monetization. Let's just find a video that I can show this for, shall I? We were talking about iMovie before. I think I'm allowed to show this, I just have to be careful about what information I show in my analytics. If I go to my revenue tab, I'll just show you the split of revenue that we have here. Yep, I think I can show this. So this will show you how little money we make from videos here on YouTube, and why I have to put a video out every day. So since this was published, this video about the free iMovie update, it's had about 1,200 views, and I've made $4.12 from ad revenue, and I've made 19 cents from YouTube Premium. So these bits in the middle here, this one here, that's my estimated ad revenue, and that's my YouTube Premium revenue. So basically, yeah, they grab all of the YouTube Premium. So if you don't know about YouTube Premium, if you're a YouTube Premium user, you pay a monthly fee. I pay, I think, $17.99, and that gets me 5 accounts, like for all my family, or I think it's maybe $9.99 or $11.99 for a single account. So you pay for that, and instead of watching ads, you get ad-free content, but you pay for it up front. So that's the difference there, Phil, is that if you've got YouTube Premium, you watch it, you go into this little bucket, and then the folks who don't have YouTube Premium that watch ads, they go into this bucket here. So it is a proportion of the YouTube Premium amount each. It's a bit like Spotify. So Spotify does the same thing. They just grab everyone's $10 a month. They look at the total streaming numbers. So people think you get paid per stream. You don't really. It's the same with YouTube. You don't really get paid per click per se. There's like a bucket of money, and then it works out how many views you got compared to all the other content creators, and then it pays you accordingly. Same with Spotify. It doesn't pay you per stream per se. It pays you a proportion of the, because they can't pay more than they have. So Spotify might say, all right, of your $10, $8 goes back into the company, and sadly that's about right. And that $2 left, that goes out to all of the different record labels and independent artists. That's why you end up getting paid like half a cent per stream. It's not cool. What are you gonna do? And look, yeah, people are talking content blockers and other things. Look, I come and go when it comes to people using ad blockers and content blockers. Obviously, my official view as a YouTube content creator is that if you want to support the artists, the content creators, let the ads run, because that's how we make our crust and that's how we pay the bills. However, I also know that sometimes you go to websites that just are ridiculous, and some YouTube content creators are ridiculous. They'll make an 8-minute video and put 4 ads in it, and then put that silly thing that floats over the bottom of your screen that you can't get rid of, and then there's a link at the end, and you try to click off and you click the link. So yeah, I get it why. So, and look, that's why there's other options. So if you want to use ad blockers and content blockers and then support me on Patreon, or throw me a super chat, or throw me a PayPal donation every now and then, I'm cool with that too. I realize the reality of the world is that some people just don't want to ever see an ad, and that's cool too. But it is the majority. So to give you an idea of my YouTube AdSense revenue, it's about half my income. So it's an important thing. So just consider it before you make your decision. Just go in. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care what decision people make about things. Just be informed about it. Make a decision based on information, not just based on assumptions. It is nice in a sense that YouTube has copyright claims which don't hurt really other than monetization, as opposed to just giving artists. Yeah, exactly. So the reason that Your Music Live is only on YouTube, because shows like this, you may be watching this on Twitch, or you may be watching this on Twitter, or you may be watching on Facebook. 95% of you are watching on YouTube. But the reason I can put this show across all those platforms is that I'm not playing copyrighted music. I'm only playing my own music or creating music on these shows. Shows where I play other people's music, I can't put on those other platforms because they get taken down. And even my happy hour show where I play cover songs of other people's music, quite often they'll get blocked and taken down on Facebook. So I do put those on Facebook just to see, but they'll often get blocked or taken down. Whereas if I'm playing other people's music, the same content ID content ID claims that I get, on Facebook, that would just make it completely shut down, which is no cool. I literally can't go for upper frets on the guitar. Is there any videos about it? Yeah, I would look at, if you search other instruments. So I've got a video where I show how to play the keyboard how to play the guitar instruments with the keyboard, or go back to the start of the video where we showed all those transposition options that you have with vocal transformer and with the pitch correction and with the settings option there in your MIDI. There's a heap of ways you can do it. Alrighty, that is gonna do it. Final reminder here that if you are new to GarageBand, or if you've got other questions, or if you want more information, jump on over to, not that place, but this place, to the GarageBand guide here, my GarageBand iOS FAQ. So this is at studiolive today.com/GarageBand. You can pick up the course for just $10. I keep it super cheap because it's 5 hours of curated content and it will get you started. You've got all of the playlists there, and of course all of our alphabetized tips and tricks there all about GarageBand. So I wanted to say a big thank you to everyone for being here today. Thank you for all of your support over the weekend. I hope you had an awesome Easter break, or chocolate day break, or just an extra day or two off. Whatever floats your boat. So someone said to me, you should be thankful that we have these religious holidays, or you wouldn't get the days off. And I'm like, I'm thankful for them. I don't like horse racing either, but here in Australia we get a day off for a horse race. So I'm not going to look a gift horse race in the mouth. See what I did there? All right. For my patrons, I'll be back tomorrow because we're looking at the part 3 video of BandLab. So we're going to do some mixing and some effects processing in BandLab. So we'll be doing that live for patrons. So if you want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/PeteJohns and join the fun there. Or of course, if you're not, that video, you get the edited version. You don't get the raw version where I swear and curse and learn how to use it. You get the nice polished bit at the end. So if you want the diamond, you can do that. If you want the the pre-diamond turd. I'm selling this well, aren't I? Come over to Patreon. There you go. And yes, do go out, hit the shops, because all the chocolate bunnies are definitely going to be half price at the moment. Thanks everyone for being here. Please be kind to yourselves this week. Be kind to others. Keep on creating, and I'll see you next time. Where? On GarageBand Weekly. Bye for now.
GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly.
Whoa.
The answer to your question.